Millett here, live at 5 Mondays, all things healthy. Why not? Why not? Because the reason why I kind of say that all things healthy is that everything that happens, whether we believe it or not, may be for the best, may be for our own better self and growth. So all things healthy doesn't necessarily mean we're skipping through the tulips. That's not what it means. So for those people who are new, maybe to Live at 5, here there's kind of like 3 segments. One segment is going to go into something different, perhaps something new for you. And another part is going to be, well, what's in the news? What can we chat about? And then the third piece is, let's speak to some jokes. Now, I can't see if anybody's on here, so let me just see here. I think I have to change this to, let's see where we go, public here. And there you go. So welcome. I know this has been going for about a minute, but I forgot that part of the new setup here in Facebook is that you actually have to select public when you are doing your presentation. So some of you wouldn't have seen that I was just talking away for about a minute there. But the idea is Live at 5's all things healthy, and it is many things that are healthy in the sense that everything that's kind of happening and going on around us is for our good. Now sometimes we would maybe disagree for certain things that really affect us, but at times I've heard many times, and you may have read and heard, where people say, I wouldn't change it for the world. That it's an important thing to actually be, there's lasagna. This is my lovely daughter. No, thank you. So the idea as going through life is, all things are healthy if you are accepting and, how can I say, accepting of yourself, accepting of things. And, this is very important. Can you shut the door, Josephine? Okay. So there you go. So this is, it's kind of all intertwined into that, where we have that happening into our lives. So I did mention the first part for those people who are not new to this, but are new to it, is that something different, something new to chat about. Now, I've talked about this before, but I have never made it the way, when I did my research on the web, I was supposed to boil the water and then simmer the wonder of the world plants. So this is a plant that was actually given to me by a good friend, and you take a leaf and it grows, any leaf can grow a numerous amount of plants from each of its points. I didn't bring it in here. It's a bit cold. I left it into the house, but I'm surely going to bring it on and raise the awareness of this plant. So easy to grow. And it's from Madagascar, this plant, but it's made its way around the world, or it's made its way into the Caribbean. It's made its way, obviously, into Canada. And there's a gentleman who's raised in the Caribbean. He's from out west, and we connected on the seal oil, but he's a wealth of knowledge, and he makes a lot of herbals and plants and creams and stuff for people, natural. So the wonder of the world, Calacho pinnata plant, also known as the miracle leaf of life, life plant, gold plant, Mexican love plant, resurrection, sanso leaf, is much celebrated for its curing capabilities. And one of the things that it says here is it has a strong ability to have cancer fighting properties. Now it's really easy to make, it's really easy to grow, and once you see it, so as you can see, that's yeah, I almost want to say a word what color it looks like, but anyway, I haven't tasted it yet. You're not supposed to add sugar to it either. Then you can, if you don't drink it all, if you make a batch similar to chaga tea, you can put it in the fridge, and to take a glass or 2 of this a day, that's how you would take it. So I'm just going to taste it, see how it tastes. When I had it the last time and I made it like normal tea, so there was no simmering to it, it was definitely weaker, but it's actually quite sweet on its own. It's not bitter by any means. It's not strong either. I'm going to look up more recipes just to see if there's different ways to brew it, I'll call it. But yeah, there's actually a distinct, almost like maple syrup taste, almost. Yes, there's something about it. It'll probably hit me and then I'll mention. But that is the wonder of the world plant, rather than saying that long word. I'll put a link down below. I've just been pulling things together here for it. But internal uses of the leaf of life plant are cancer, diabetes, kidney stones, hypertension, pregnancy, improved sleep and no weight gain, and then, yeah, so that's the three there. Pregnancy research, there you go. Externally, can be used for cataracts, arthritis, cuts, bruises, and ulcers. So lots this is just a bit of the research, but a lot of things seems to go into the sea. I guess that's why they call it the wonder of the world. Now, keeping in the frame of liquids, and if you're been on listening here and there, this may look like coffee, but it's not coffee. It's chaga tea. If brewing yourself, you brew it over several hours, and in Russia, when I met with somebody who had the tea that I had made, says way too weak, but I had made some condensed stuff for a recipe. She had that. She says, that's how we have it. So now I make it that way. But the highest known in antioxidants, when I did research for my book, this is the highest known antioxidants that you're going to consume. So you won't consume a cup of cinnamon. No, you won't do that. But you'll easily consume a ton of antioxidants when you consume chaga tea. In fact, the Russian athletes, one of the things I read was back 50s, 60s, they use this to actually help with recovery. So high in antioxidants, similar to Wonder of the World plant, it's very anti-cancer. In fact, when you see these chaga on the birch trees, they're black on the outside, gold on the inside, and it's the black on the outside that they toot as being anti-cancer, to the point where it's gone. It's gone. Now, of course, people have a different lifestyle now than they did then, so you have to take into consideration all kinds of things. Did they believe in the healing properties of chaga and all of these plants and herbs more so than we do now? And there's always the mind that can come into play with that. But this is delicious. I mean, it's earthy. It's very, very earthy. It's not bitter like coffee at all. You don't have to add anything in else. Some people do. Some people blend it. But I prefer the straight up and nice and warm. So you don't have to have it hot. That's the thing I wanted to get into when I was thinking of these teas. Actually, this morning just reminded me is, do you think it is better, not better, which one do you think is worse? Is it worse to drink something hot or something very cold, ice cold? So I wonder if you have any opinion on that, whether drinking too hot would be problematic or drinking too cold with there. I want to bring this up because it's an important piece, and I might have written a blog on it, but I've surely talked about it in presentations. So I didn't know if any of you had any comments on that, any take on that. And I'm going to wait, and I'll talk about it later. Again, I'll come up with that. So what's in the news? I mean, I'm watching a variety of different things. By far, I haven't watched everything to catch up on it. But one of the things I kind of watched is an interview with the Sun. Now, it seems like it's out of the UK, and it's with Megyn Kelly, who used to work for Fox News. But it was such a great, and I put the link already earlier today here on Facebook on my page. The reason being, I thought it was very informative. It kind of tied to a conversation I had while walking the dog with a neighbor, where we both were going, yeah, we can talk about anything. It's not about her changing, I'm convincing, or we're getting angry, or anything like that. So we're just sharing how we're thinking about things, how we're feeling about things, what do we do, all of that. And it was so lovely. And so she had seen that that's one of the key things that kind of is upsetting, that to see the people get upset. All you have to do is mention this name or that name or whatever, and they can't even hear each other out. So that was a very important conversation. But then when I watched the Megyn Kelly, it was not a very long one, but I watched it, and she had somewhat of the same thing. So when I was watching her and listening to her speak, it was really grand. It was like, I am, how can I say it? I am, she's a free thinker. So at times she was, raised this politic way and then kind of moved over here. And at the end of the day, in her thinking and observing and trying to understand where people were coming from, she became independent. And she prefers to stay that way. She doesn't want to work for companies where they have a certain slant, or you're afraid to say something because you're just afraid to say something. But she's not afraid to say anything, so she's just going to continue to work for herself and being able to speak freely. And how lovely is that we should be able to speak freely. It doesn't matter what we have heard or we've read or how we're listening. It's to grow to that standpoint where we haven't taken a side. We haven't worshipped a particular theory even. I'm going to say that. So like the evolution theory. I remember kind of listening to it and going, things didn't make sense. And I believe I was kind of questioning, well, why aren't all the apes and chimps turned to human? Like, where's this evolution now? And as far back as I could see or read or anything. But it was a theory. And so it's been proven wrong. But the idea is we should be able to, question and be free speaking. But, there are going to be times where if there's somebody who's being very abusive, you may just go, don't really need it. You don't kind of want to get involved in that, which is where Megyn kind of talks about how that kind of scenario, she doesn't want to move back into that scenario. But sure, even certain things that were talked about, she talked about the whole Trump thing. She could easily make sense of it. And it's, again, a lot of times there's misunderstandings. And we don't have enough time to dive into, a long enough time to dive into before people kind of get irate and upset and angry. And, I've come across that with trying to communicate and get information on certain things, particularly Trump, but just very curious on what they think about him. And because I did not toe the line, as in talking or bad-mouthing him, it was clear to them that I didn't have the same. It doesn't mean I was against, and I had to tell them that, listen, I'm just listening to all sides here. I'm not an American, number one. I'm not going to vote or whatever, but the idea is to be aware of and to listen and to do these things open enough so that, that's why I kind of wrote those words, the thinking for ourselves, critical thinking, and no worshiping, okay? That is so key in life or in moving forward, is that it's so easy. We've been trained at times to worship doctors or any authoritarian figure, any figure that goes, well, I've wrote 12 books, I have lectured this. It's great to get a sense for who they are, absolutely. But at times, I can sense and feel and see that when they're speaking, how they're trying to impress, and when people talk to them in the way they do, they're after being impressed. They like it. I can see why people would like it, but it is one of those things where we don't have to worship anything or anybody or put anybody on a pedestal. We don't have to. Yes, we choose, and everybody has free will, and we want to keep that free will, freedoms. And that's one thing I've been speaking since March. We want to keep our freedoms, no question about it. And these are the questions we have to ask ourselves. So thinking, speaking, and watching. And when we're doing all of that, we can question and we can see what's coming through. And do we feel the same way? Do we have the same thing, or are we going down the path of always taking this particular side? Because at the end of the day, what's going to be important, I mean, truly important, even though some people will talk to it, is that we come together, and we don't come together having the same ideas. We don't come together with believing the same things. We come together because this is how communities can work together when they need to, and they have each other to come together. So I wanted to mention something that has come up through, and I've mentioned Sylvan Henry's name before, and he mentioned he's doing what he calls a freedom chat walk in Ottawa. And so we were talking about it today. Just I wanted to get what he's doing, his ideas on it. There's going to be physical distancing. He said nobody's wearing masks, but the idea is you start small, and you have people coming together to build. It's to communicate with each other and to build community. Maybe not the same as your family community, maybe not the same as a village, but here in City Toronto, there's a number of people that want to come out and have people to talk to. I don't think some of us are aware of just how many people live alone. We can talk on the phone, but one of the things that's important, which is the key reason for the Forest Hill Walk Club to be outside all year round, is that beautiful word, or two words, fresh air. So you're active at a pace that's for the group, and you're getting fresh air, and you're meeting new people, and you're building. It's a community feel. It's socializing, as they say, we're social beings. But I'm going to do this. I am going to do this. I already do the walk club, and I think we had about 15 or 16 people. I'm not going to shut that down. I didn't shut it down in March anyways for mental health, but back then a lot of people didn't know what was going on, and they didn't come out. So I had one person who came out for a few weeks, and that was fine. I was coming out anyway. I was going to go out. I was going to be there, and he was very dedicated. And I think for a matter of several weeks or so, until the weather got nice, he wanted to come, and that was great. And then a few more people came on board, and I kept trying to express to them what it was for, why I kept going. It's mental health. The numbers don't seem to be panning out. Yes, we can understand that people have fear, but I don't. And those who do have fear, we're staying home anyway. So as far as the walk club goes, or as far as even this freedom chat walk goes, it will be to everybody's comfort level. So I say that to the walk club, even in May and June and July, since then, you be mindful of your comfort zone, and then you're able to share comfortably with anybody in the group. I mean, if you're so adamant about physical distancing, then one person could bring that, they could bring that up. So I try to get them to feel comfortable with communicating, because I think that is the awkward spot for some people, and not to be judged, not to be seen in any which way, and they don't really know each other. And that's the thing, is we don't really know each other, even in the matter of a walk here, a walk there. But so that's that. I'm going to post it on Meetup, but the reason why I'm telling you is there's a possibility you may be able to do the same thing in your neck of the woods, in your neighborhood, in your area. I'm only going to do it where I live in Toronto. I'm not going to go all about, and it's not going to be about 3 hours, 4 hours, or anything like that. It's going to be an hour to 2 hours. We'll just see. I'll just see how the group comes together. It'll be a free walk. I'm going to determine what days, maybe try with one day, maybe a couple of days, and so it's an additional walk to the Forest Hill Walk Club. But I'm going to put it on there. I am going to advertise on there, and a few other places too as well. But it'll be nice to get together for fresh air, and many people don't have dogs, so they don't have a reason to go out. So this will be something. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, and you can see how it goes. Maybe there's somebody, maybe not yourself, somebody you know who would love to organize this, who's that kind of person that would love to do that. And in that case, that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. So let's just see. I know there was something else I went through as well. Let me just see if I can find it here, because it might have been part of something else. No, that's it. I mean, the same things that are actually coming out more and more, and some of it's not even new. Uh, food safety is not new. Vitamin D for our better health is far from being new. And most people don't know that if they're taking a lot of cholesterol meds, that could hinder the production of their vitamin D, because you need cholesterol along with the sun, I'll just say sunlight, to produce your vitamin D. And of course in the winter we're not out as often, so with this chat walk, definitely it's going to be midday, when we have as much daylight, we have strong daylight. It's going to be midday, maybe 11 to noon or 10:30 to 12:30, something like that, so we can get the light. And even on our eyes, I've heard that that's even a good thing as well. So we're going to have our face unmasked, but I'll leave it to everybody else. But he said that in the chat walks he's been doing, nobody's been wearing their mask, but they've been doing the physical distancing. And they're just going to walk. We're going to walk around, and maybe other people will join us as they see what we're doing, and so forth like that. So I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing. You might not think of it's a great thing because you may already have a certain particular thing to keep active and social, and that is great. In fact, if you do have some other ideas, then we're looking at fresh air, activity, community building and socializing as the three things in a lovely way where people can share, connect, and things like that. But if you have any ideas that include 1, 2, or 3 of those, please post them. Please post them down below, and I can even mention them to Savannah as well. And it might be the idea that you're just thinking about that will work in where you are, in your neck of the woods. So all ideas are welcomed here, so that we're just creating a better world at these times, until the doctors, the researchers, and other people, even in the government, kind of get through to the current, I'm going to call whether it's the current administration or current government, to yeah, I mean, as Dr. Sargent said, there's no way we should be locking down again, for sure. And at first, I mean, he and others were obviously didn't know enough, so they just went full head on in doing what they were told to do. And even then, now though certain people like himself go, it wasn't warranted. It wasn't warranted to lock down. So something's afoot is really what you can see through a whole variety of videos, but the tag that's on a lot of those videos, for some people who are just as happy because life is what it is. The tag of conspiracy theory, which I do believe that it was a created word that really helps people go, they'll just dismiss something very easily. What if you're standing with somebody and you've got some questions about something, and the other person says, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. And the other person's going, I have questions, but nope, I'm not going to say anything now. I'm not going to say anything now. So this is the openness for us to have. But like other people, and like Megyn too, I mean, if people treat things in a certain way, certain information that they're trying to get across in a certain way, they lose me. I get lost in, I know what they're saying, but at the same time, I don't really want to side with this person or tell people to go and read their stuff if they're so off the wall, judgmental at the same time, just so passionate, this is the side, it's the right side. So it's like a divisive, you're getting into a side. The idea is truths we definitely want to uncover, and we want to learn more about them. Now, most of us, we're not engaged in the back scenes or behind the scenes, seeing what's going on, where some people are, and they're coming forth. And that's the thing, we've got to feel what we feel is what's going on, and make our choices in the best way, impeccable way. and in respecting everybody for their opinion and where they are in this. So we don't necessarily need to be a chatty Cathy. I don't know if I say Cathy, but I think that's how they used to say it, you know, chatty person, or vomiting on other people. What did George used to say about vomiting all over? Yeah, I guess when people would just chat and, you know, not get a word in edgewise. Yeah, vomiting all over you, or what's the other one? Shooting all over you. So saying, you know, you should do this, you should do that, and should do. And we really do need to give people the space and take the space ourselves to listen to both sides. And that's why I watched the Biden. What did he call it? Anyway, it was a speech because the mainstream media had announced he won, which they shouldn't. You know, that was clear from the information I got, that that's not the process. But they did anyway, probably for the reason they did. And in some ways I'm going, wow, this really made it calmer. Like, people were so calm and happy that, you know, the T person didn't win and the B person won, so they were just so happy. So this is kind of like peace and calm going. But it's not over yet. From what I can see, it's not over yet. And I hate to think that what could happen is that I guess just like you think of a mafia, you know, they just got a lot more guns, they got a lot more people, so they win. You know, they're the bad guy. Let's say there's a good mafia and a bad mafia, and the bad guys have a lot of, you know, just a lot of strength in many things, from weapons to ideas to connections, whatever it is, and they're able to make it work. So what I'm praying for is that the truths come out, and they come out as they need to come out, and that the people were here for each other, and that whatever it is, the truth, let's have the truth. That's what we should all want, is the truth. No matter what appearances have come about so far, is having the truth should be, you know, should be top of mind, for sure. So that's what I wanted to speak about today. I'm going to go into a few jokes. So I don't know if anybody has any particular comments about things that are going on in the news, any questions. So I posted 2 videos. One with Megyn Kelly. It's not very long, but again, I really appreciated her take on things, her attitude on things, and even right from the horse's mouth, if we can say that, about inside the news, you know, inside news, and the experience that she went through with Trump and with others, her colleagues, for when things that she didn't do or she didn't do. But it seems like she held her guns for her beliefs and the way she likes to deal with things, and just, you know, strong conviction on doing the right thing, not being biased and not following and, you know, towing the line, so to speak, that way. So I think that's that. But I did get a email. It's like a, you know, contact submission thing that comes in through my website, and this person had asked about get dialogues going. You know, get dialogues going, or have people comment. I know people comment on here, so I'm just trying to understand from this person exactly what is kind of going on. And maybe this person came on and there was nobody speaking. In fact, it might be the time I had it private, right? So nobody came on because it wasn't public. So of course there wasn't any me mention about comments, and as I know, this was kind of recently. But yes, let's encourage dialogue. Let's encourage comments, for sure. For sure. So jokes. Let's end off with the jokes, for sure. I know it's kind of broad things when we think of thinking and speaking and watching. So watching is more like the observer. You know, you're not taking a side, but you're listening and open to, and you appreciate other opinions and other way people say. It doesn't mean it has to change yours if you have a particular way that you've been thinking. And then we all grow into something and morph it or whatever, maybe have our own clarity and be clear on who we are or how we want to approach things. The speaking part is speaking impeccable, speaking with your truth, speaking how you feel. And that is, that is something we can be doing more and more. It's a practice. It's a practice. And thinking. So think before you speak. Thinking, we're thinking all kinds of things and we maybe don't voice it, but there's ways to do it in a way. And if some people aren't open, there's ways to speak. And I know some people will say, oh, you're so diplomatic, Cheryl, the way sometimes I would present things. Well, when you work in corporate sometimes, you, I don't know if it's just the corporate I worked for, corporation, or the department or whatever, but you do learn some diplomatic way of speaking and approaching things. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. You don't want to be wrong about something. So you want to ask, you want to ask or put something out there, and what do you think? It's fine to be wrong, but at the end of the day, some things you don't want to be necessarily wrong about. So that's why you go and you search and you do, you ask questions and ask your boss or whatever. So you don't do the mistake and then get asked, well, why didn't you just ask? Those kind of things. So thinking before you speak for sure. Thinking, critical thinking, thinking for yourself. All important things. So let's go into, I've got 3 here for today. How did the musician catch his fish? How did the musician catch his fish? He cast a net. He cast a net. That's a type of instrument, I believe. Why can't your nose be 12 inches long? Why can't your nose be 12 inches long? Because then it would be a foot. Haha. I like that one. Last one. And you may have some. Listen, if you have some, just post it in the comment. Like, let's say you come across a really good one. I know people send that to me, but even on the time I'm doing live at 5, Mondays, I'm doing it at 5. So you just kind of tuck it in there. If you really like it, it's really great. Just tuck it in. Hi, Angel. I just tuck it in there, and I will bring it up. How do you catch a unique rabbit? How do you catch a unique rabbit? Unique up on it. Unique up on it. There you go. Sometimes you can't see the words, but I'll post them up there. I'll post them up in their own separate posts, so then you'll be able to see what they are. But I'm going to close for today, and just wish everybody a wonderful evening. Again, it's the same old good stuff, or same old practice of being calm, compassionate, being social, community, being respectful, being responsible. And freedoms. Freedoms is a big thing. Freedoms is a big thing. It's clear as clear, like the nose on your face, that something is not right, and the governments are not listening to all sides and all science. They're just not. And it absolutely seems to be going against the constitutions, be it, I'm just thinking of at least Canada and America, against constitutions. So we want to sit back and keep aware, but at the same time, we want to make sure we're looking after our health. So that's why at the chat walk, I'm going to do that, being walk outside, getting people out in the fresh air and community and talking social, meeting new people, and that. I think that's very important. So community is very important. And I know for me, I don't mind saying it, there will be nothing that will keep me away from communicating with my family, visiting my dad, and anybody else in the family. I mean, unless they're whatever. But most of my family seems to be, as they say, awake. But they're taking enough. They may not know everything. They may heard of a little bit of this, a little bit of that. They may not know. It doesn't matter. But they are, just thinking, there's something not right, and don't want certain things. And most of my family doesn't like medication, so they're not, they'll stay away from it like it's the plague. Some of them are on it for different reasons, but they'd rather not and be on the low. And I'm the first one to say, don't go on, don't be on medications if you don't have to be on medications. And maybe I'll talk to some stories of that again, because through stories is a really good way for you to understand more about the predicaments or the unfolding, what happens before, why, and then what kind of happens afterwards. So all good. So I'm going to say adios, arrivederci, au revoir, good night, good evening, and enjoy your evening your way, and we'll see you again live at 5. But yeah, let's continue to reach out. Wonderful time. So take care. Bye for now.